party people? It's Leslie, your embodied sales and leadership coach, and I'm doing something new. I am actually doing this on YouTube first, and then we're going to rip the audio and put that on to my podcast. So if you've ever wondered what I look like, or if you haven't come over to Instagram and you want to see, hop on over to Leslie D. Lyons on YouTube and you can see me chatting. I'm waving at you. I'm posing so you can get a screenshot. Screenshot me, let me know you're listening, tag me. Well, today, you know what? I want to talk about what I've been talking about for a minute is being trapped in your business, how to fire yourself. But I thought I'd give some context around how I got out of that situation. I think it'd be a good story. And also, prayerfully, it'll be inspiration for you to take those steps as well. So like many of you, when I first started my business back in 2007, it was not my goal nor my desire to have this massive team of over 30 people that I was going to have to manage. When I started my business, probably like many of you, I started my business with two things in mind. Number one, I needed to replace my $200,000 a year salary. I was leaving educational sales. And number two, I wanted time freedom to spend the time and on the things I love to do and with the people I love the most. And so that's what I shout out to do. I never wanted to be this huge studio with all these people. I just wanted some peace and some control over my personal life. So that was where I started. And I know I stayed in that mindset of kind of like, it's just me, myself, my sister, we're going to keep this tight because number one, I wanted to keep as much profit in my pocket as possible because remember, I was trying to replace a $200,000 a year plus salary. And then second of all, I had also worked in HR a big chunk of my career. And so I know the joys and the lows of having to manage people. All right. Dealing with people's emotions, dealing with the things that come up with people. Like, I did not want that crap. Okay. I was like, I got a chance to build my own thing and I'm going to build it the way I want to. And I would say that the first 3 years that worked out okay. Meaning that I was able to get by without killing myself. But as I was going into that year 4 of my business, what I noticed was a few things. My physical health was suffering. My relationships were suffering. And my bank account was suffering. I had a trifecta of hell that was going on. So physically, what happens when you work 24/7? Now, I know y'all sitting out there saying, okay, you exaggerated. Don't nobody work 24/7. Well, if you're going to be honest with yourself, and if you really are a brick and mortar business owner listening to this, you know that when your workday ends, like the shop might close at 6:00, but your brain don't ever turn off. Like your body might be laying there in the bed, right? But your mind is still racing. And what is that doing? It's putting stress on your body. And stress kills people every day, y'all. People are leaving here every day because they're stressed out. And so for me, thank goodness it didn't kill me or you would be talking to my ghost right now. But you know what it did do? It made my eating habits poor. So you make poor eating habits mixed with stress, you get hypertension. Okay? Excuse me. You get hypertension. That's what happens, right? And so my body started to crumble. I was sick a lot. The thing about Facebook memories, it can really literally be a diary for you and where you were in your life. And the number of times that I've looked back on Facebook memories and saw I wasn't feeling well over the years was astonishing. Like, I was literally dying on my feet. So physically, I was not able to bring my best to my work. So you can imagine there's some trickle effects to that, right? Then let's move into the relationship category. When you're working 24/7 or you're preoccupied, it's like having a lover on the side. It's like having a side piece, okay? Some toxic side piece on the side because truthfully, you can't be present with people you care and love. The people you love and care about. You can't be present with them. Relationships require your presence. And if your presence is tied up into your business, you're going to have fallout there. And when you have poor health, poor relationships, meaning you don't have a strong support network because you're foregoing those relationships, eventually that is going to impact your bank account because you're not bringing the best service. So when you don't bring the best service, you don't attract the best customers, okay? But for me, we were still growing, even with not the ideal customer because I wasn't in the ideal mindset. We were still growing and I could not handle the growth. A lot of times when I run into entrepreneurs who are just getting started in their business, or they're coming to me looking for coaching for the first time, they're always looking to increase their revenue because they think the worst thing that could happen to a business is the lack of revenue, right? The lack of capital, the lack of resources, and just not having enough money, period. Well, here's what I can tell you. The worst thing that can happen to a business, in my opinion, is that you grow too fast, that you have more business than what you can handle, because you start taking shortcuts because you don't want to say no to the money, right? You start taking on business that you really shouldn't take on because you just can't handle it. And that impacts your pocketbook. So I had this growing business, even if it was a toxic, not ideal client base of business that I was growing, because I was a toxic leader. Let's just put the blame where it needs to be. I knew that I was going to have to hire other people because I couldn't keep up the pace. I couldn't do it. So I was what I call a reluctant leader. Okay? And so a reluctant leader with trust issues. Now, for those of you who don't know, I use the Enneagram quite extensively in my work. I believe it's one of the most important tools that a leader can have. Most, not important tools, but accessible tools that a leader can have to grow and change and develop and all of those sorts of things. And I'm an Enneagram 8, so I'm known as the challenger. And one of my vices, cardinal sins, if you will, my kryptonite, my quicksand, whatever you want to use it is my inability to trust people. I have a tough time letting people get close to me, and I have a tough time trusting that people won't betray me, leave me, or just F things up royally. Okay? And so you can imagine, though, if you've got that type of mindset, okay, what that's like when it's time to go and hire somebody. Joy, joy, fun, fun, not. Okay? So I really had to get control over my explosive temper. Your girl, angry all the time, everything pissing me off, and my inability to trust people. And that's when entered my first P in my framework that got me unchained to my business was I am in the business of pleasure. Okay. I own multiple pole dance studios, and that is what we help women focus on, is owning their desires, owning their pleasure, not in a hedonistic way, but in a way that is fuel for what you need to get done in your day. And here I am, a disembodied embodiment teacher. That's what it was. It was like I knew what to do, but wasn't doing it. Here's another fun fact and a pattern that I'm probably going to need to talk about in therapy, y'all. Like, I actually have my Group X certification and my personal training certification from NASM. And yeah, your girl don't use none of that information. So I know what to do if I wanted to improve my physical health. I got all the principles, how to do it, what I should do, macros, when I should be doing cardio, when I should be lifting weights. I know all the stuff. Like, seriously, sidebar, I started taking Pilates lessons again, but I'm doing private lessons. And the woman, the trainer, was talking to me about my psoas, which most commonly known as one of the muscles inside of your hip flexor complex. And it literally was like everything she would say, I was like, oh yeah, my psoas or my adductors, da 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 da. And she was like, you know anatomy. I'm like, yeah, I do. Because I had to know anatomy to get those certifications and to be a movement teacher, right? And so people are often surprised because I don't look like, if you're not on YouTube and ain't see me, you need to see me. I don't look like fitness is my life, because guess what? It ain't, right? But the point is, knowing what to do is not enough. You need the discipline to execute what you know and the wisdom on how to do that efficiently. And so I knew what to do in my business. I know how to make things pleasurable. I know how to make things fun, but I had abandoned it. So the first thing I did was infuse pleasure back into my business and back into my personal life. So what that looks like for me is making sure that I made time for movement every day. And it didn't have to be movement like going to the studio, dancing all out. It could just be some head circles, some chest circles, some hip circles, just something that helped me to keep emotion moving, that felt good to my body, shot off those endorphins, made me feel good, hugging myself, all the things that helped calm my nervous system, calm me down, so that explosive anger that I had, those emotional outbursts that I talked about, it helped me to pull away from that. Also, some of the tools that I teach my clients are like breath work. And I'm not talking about holotropic, laying on the floor, heaving, hoeing all the time, even though there's tremendous benefits to that, but just accessible breath work techniques that bring you back to center, that help you calm the fuck down, okay? So my breath work practice, EFT, tapping, like all of these juices, I got a toolbox of ways for you to infuse pleasure into your day. So many ways, and I started doing that. And that, you know what it did? It created space for me. Because that's what I was lacking so much when you're going 24/7. There wasn't a whole lot of space to think. There wasn't a whole lot of space to respond, as opposed to always being in reaction mode, like ready just to pop off whenever. It gave me peace. It gave me solace. Okay. So that was the first thing I did, was infuse pleasure, which is the first P in my 4P framework. The second thing I did was I started to leverage my personality. I stopped trying to be carbon copies of managers I had in corporate. I stopped trying to be carbon copies of mentors that I had in the industry, and really started saying, what makes you unique, so that you could be your authentic self, so that you can show up as who you really are, so you can lead from a truthful place. You will never lead people well when you're pretending to be somebody else, y'all. That fake it till you make it stuff is so 1990s, okay? Ain't nobody faking it till they make it no more. That's not what we're doing. We're all about authentic, strong, courageous, vulnerable leadership over in these parts. And so I had to learn more about my personality, into the Enneagram and other assessments that really kind of let me know why I do what I do. Because I knew what I was doing, but why was I doing what I was doing, so that I can make some different choices. That was the first benefit of leveraging my personality. But the second benefit was when I started looking for my replacement in the business, so hiring my first management level employee, I was able to train her on my heart. Shout out to Nicole. We are still friends to this day. And this has been, since 2009 that I've known her, 2010, somewhere up in there. But we are still friends. And she started out as a client and then became my employee. But what was so nice about it was when I found out more about my heart and what made me tick, I was able to share with her what I wanted. I was able to put some teeth into my vision and tell her why I did what I did, so that she could replicate the same results that I was getting, because she understood my heart. So my thing is, you don't want employees who are clones of you, but they must have your heart towards your vision. Like, they must care for your clients and your business the same way that you do. The expression of it is unique because it's their personality, but the heart needs to be the same. So leveraging my personality helped me, number one, understand myself as a leader so I could grow and lead people better. And it also helped me train people on what it is that we do and what our special sauce is, right? And it helped me to relate to the people I hired because I got to know their personality types and what motivated them to do their best work so that we could all win. So the second P is personality. It is such an underrated tool that could be used to leverage and scale your business pretty quickly. The third thing is positioning. So the third P is positioning, and this is all about stories. So I got really good at telling stories of my clients, telling stories of my staff to clients, helping my staff find their story within the company's story. And what stories help them do is, again, it helped us line up specifically with the vision, right? Because they could tell a story about why we do what we do. But it also helped us attract the right types of clients. It also helped us when we were coaching our clients to move into different products, to move into a different level, whatever. We just became really good in telling stories to connect people and to motivate people. And once you learn that, when you can unleash the power of storytelling in your business, it makes everything feel less transactional and more relational, because that's what stories do. They bind us together. They are the glue that pulls this thing together. So taking pleasure, leveraging personalities, and packaging it in stories is how I got free, guys. It's how I got free. And it's so simple once you get the tools and you really master it, that you will wonder, how did you lead without it? It is going to create so much space in your business. It's going to give you emotional regulation tools, so you're not popping off all the time. You're not stressed out all the time. And when you're a calm, peaceful leader, guess what? Your business is calm and peaceful. Guess what? Your team is calm and peaceful. Like, what would it be like to just have a chill organization to run? Where things happen, because I'm not selling you a fairy tale. We run businesses. Things are going to happen. But what if we could laugh about it? What if, as opposed to stressing out, we say, okay, this is some wild shit. But we going to figure this out together, y'all. We ready? We moving forward. What would it be like to not have to push people, but you could pull them along with your vision? It will revolutionize the time you spend in your space. And inadvertently, remember I said I had a problem trusting people? When I started to change our culture around, and I knew that my employees had my heart, it made trusting them a lot easier. And if you want to fire yourself, if you want to unchain yourself, if you want to get out the closet, you want to stop being trapped in that closet. I got this crazy cough. You want to be not trapped in the closet anymore. Trust is going to be what you need. And when you trust people, you give them more responsibility. And the more responsibility you give them, the less you have on your plate. And then you can do the things that only you can do. What are those things, Leslie? Well, as the CEO, as the small business owner, as the chief visionary officer, the CVO is what I like to call myself. Because I feel like CEO is almost like chief of everything officer. No, I've learned that my priority needs to be the vision of the company and where we're going. So the chief vision officer is casting vision. Where are we going next? What's the marketplace doing? All of these high level things that only you can do as the owner. But you're probably spending very little time in that area of your business because you're so inundated being the practitioner in your business, being the technician in your business, being the instructor in your business, being the artist in your business, being the bud tender in your business. When you really should be working here, but you're doing $15 task all day, minimum wage task. My goal is for you to get up out of that this year. So I want to offer you something. If you want to know more about this 4P framework and it intrigues you and you're like, yes, I definitely could use more pleasure. Yes, I want to learn how to leverage my personality so hiring and training and managing can be easier. And then I want a community of stories, meaning I want us to have common language on how we communicate with each other. Unshakable Leadership, aka Lead Loud, that's what I call it, is open. So every month I take on 3 new clients if I have the space to do it. And this is a 1-to-1 container where it's designed, if you think about a concierge physician, if you've ever heard of that, which is basically a physician on call for very busy people with a lot of money. So they may not be able to go to the doctor during the day because they're in board meetings all day. They sit on 12 boards and this is what they do. And so, but they are not feeling well. A concierge physician will show up at 1 a.m. if that's what you need. They're on call for what you need within reason. And that's what I kind of feel with this. It's like when leadership stuff happens, you have me in your back pocket to run anything by me. Because there's nothing off limits in a 1-on-1 container because this is about you and what you need. But the goal is this, because I have a framework and we're going to work through that framework. The goal is to get you away from the day-to-day in your business. If you're interested, hit me up. Schedule a compatibility call, okay? Schedule just to see if we jive. If you have questions, it's 15 minutes. It's completely free, and the link is in the bio. All right, my loves, until next week, you stay well. I'll talk to you soon. Grace and peace.